以下為個人意見節目，內容提及嘅所有政綱及言論均以嘉賓原話為準，敬請留意。
市選論英雄 Municipal Election Talks 節目主持 Alex Siu。
各位你好，而家我哋係訪問多倫多第27區市選嘅候選人 Benjamin Dichter。我首先要佢介紹自己。So Benjamin, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you. My name is Benjamin Dichter, and I'm the candidate for Ward 27 in Toronto Centre Rosedale.
我個名叫 Benjamin Dichter， 我係喺多倫多第27區喺 Rosedale 嗰度參選嘅候選人。
I began my career out of school as a gemologist and diamond grader.
我畢業呢就係曾經係一個即係珠寶鑑證家。
I then invented and patented a product for motorcycles.
然之後我就亦都喺偶然嘅機會呢就發明咗一個係電單車嘅專利。
And I now own 2 businesses in Toronto.
而家我又擁有2個生意。
And am the aspiring voice of reason at Toronto City Council.
喺我即係種種嘅跡象咧，就令到我咧就係即係想 run 呢個多倫多第27區嘅市議員。
Personally, I play cello, piano, guitar.
我自己本身咧就係彈幾樣樂器，我可以彈小提琴、彈鋼琴同埋吉他嘅。
And a few other instruments.
我亦都有幾樣其他嘅樂器。
I fix my own motorcycle, my own car. I like to read.
我可以咧就係修整我嘅電單車，甚至我嘅汽車。我而且亦都係好中意閱讀嘅。
I love to cook, travel, learn just about everything.
我亦都好中意咧就係旅遊，亦都好中意煮嘢食。咁即係我有好多嘅興趣。
I've lived in Latin America and traveled all over the world.
我曾經喺呢個拉丁美洲住過，我亦都去過世界各地好多地方。
And such, I have many stories and experiences about my life.
咁所以我係有好多個人嘅故事可以講俾大家聽嘅。
My father is a retired teacher.
我父親係一個退休嘅先生。
My mother a retired lawyer.
我個母親係一個退休嘅律師。
And my brother manages a pension fund on Bay Street.
我個兄長呢就喺卑街呢就係管理一個退休金。
So you can imagine I grew up in a home where family dinners.
你可以想象得到我哋喺點樣嘅環境長大。
Where conversations and arguments about politics, the economy, and the arts.
咁所以我哋喺個餐台嗰度呢，其實呢好多時呢就講啲政治同埋經濟，亦都好多即係嘅辯論。
I have recently learned about my biological siblings and biological family that I was unaware of.
我最近先至知道，原來我自己本身我係即係生我嘅父母親，同埋我哋佢哋嘅兄弟姊妹。
But that's a story for another day.
呢一個故事我就下次先講。跟住落嚟呢，就係第二個問題啦，我就想會問阿 Benjamin， 佢點解要參選 ？So Benjamin, why do you want to run for election?
I guess for the same reason that many of us want to run at some point in our lives.
我點解要run 呢？就係同好多人呢，就係即係喺佢個生命中，佢到咁上下時候，佢都想 run 呢個參選。
At some point, we all get frustrated and tired and exhausted with politicians who become increasingly self-serving.
即係我哋喺我哋生命中成日見到有一啲嗰啲政客咧，就佢哋令到我哋係好困擾嘅。
And it just seems to me when it gets to that point, they seem to forget why they were elected in the first place.
你見到佢哋係即係令到我哋好困擾，咁你會諗緊點解佢哋係要參選，亦都係被選到呢？
Being a city councillor is challenging.
係作為一個市議員呢，就係一個比較即係有挑戰性嘅工作。
It requires organizational skills, leadership, and extreme dedication.
佢需要有一個好好嘅組織能力，亦都有領導嘅才能，同埋咧亦都要係好投入。
And I've come to realize in communicating with others in my ward
我發覺咧與人溝通咧就係一個好重要嘅環節。
that these skills are lacking and we are being misrepresented.
我發覺咧就呢喺呢一方面咧溝通咧同市民溝通咧係非常之缺乏，咁啊令到我哋嘅聲音係唔可以咧喺市議會嗰度發聲。
So I'm looking for the opportunity to bring my experience and value to the community.
所以我就想將我嘅經驗就可以咧將社區裏邊嘅問題咧帶到市議會裏邊。
I've spent most of my life looking for new challenges and experiences.
我喺生命中咧成日咧不停咧就找尋挑戰。
And I'm fortunate enough to say that I've always risen to the occasion.
我係好高興啊！我係就係有教育。
I've been moderately successful, and I'm looking for a new challenge in an area that, for my entire life, always interested me.
我亦都好僥倖，我咧就係發覺我都係幾成功嘅，咁所以咧我就係面對一啲新嘅挑戰。
You know, the city's councilor's responsibility is to communicate and represent the community.
呢個市議員嘅職務咧就係代表呢個選民，係向呢個市議會咧就溝通嘅。
It's not to look for every opportunity to be in front of a media camera.
而唔係咧就找尋喺見傳媒嘅機會。
This misunderstanding of one's duties is detrimental to the community.
呢個咁嘅誤解咧，就令到咧就係對我哋呢個社區咧就係好不利嘅。
Aristotle taught us that those who do not participate in politics are destined to be governed by their inferiors.
亞里斯多德曾經講過咧，就話如果佢唔參與政治嗰啲人咧，就係佢注定咧就係俾人管治嘅。
And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's had this feeling.
我相信我唔係唯一一個係咁諗嘅。
But I feel as though I can help make the change that we need.
但係我覺得我深信咧，我係可以改變呢個現狀嘅。
The other thing is I'm at a certain age demographic.
另外一樣嘢咧，我係某一個年紀嘅年齡嘅人。
And in my age demographic, people are having children, they have mortgages, responsibilities.
喺我呢個歲數咧，我哋係有呢個家庭，有小朋友，係有個責任。
If they're lucky, they work 9 to 5. If they're unlucky, they work, 8 till 10.
如果佢哋係好彩嘅，佢係朝9晚5。咁如果唔好彩嘅咧，就係由8點至到夜晚10點。
And then there's soccer practice and hockey practice and birthdays and all sorts of other extracurricular.
佢哋家庭裏邊啲成員，如果佢哋有呢個足球嘅比賽，或者有呢個曲棍球嘅比賽，同埋一啲家庭嘅生活咧，就似乎咧就佢哋享受唔到。
So I'm fortunate in the fact that I don't have a family yet.
我係好僥倖，我自己暫時仲未有家庭。
And that I can be the one amongst my friends in my community.
我可以咧朋友同埋一個社區。
Who can dedicate the time to usher in this sort of change and mandate that I think all of us want.
我可以咧盡我最大嘅努力，係幫到個社區，咁可以為大家服務。跟住嚟到第3條問題，咁我想問呢，就Benjamin 呢，佢如果佢選到之後，佢想為社區做啲咩嘢 ？So Benjamin, what do you want to achieve when you get elected?
There's a number of things. One is to focus on the fact that city council, has fallen into the realm of being somewhat dysfunctional. We've all seen that in the media over the past year.
我想好多嘢要做，但係其中一樣最重要咧，大家都見到咧，家下個市議會係完全係冇運作嘅。
So my first mandate and objective is to reach across the aisle and to communicate to the other side effectively on behalf of all my constituents, ones that agree with me or disagree with me.
我第一個工作咧，就係我會同其他嗰啲同事嘅議員咧，就會做一啲比較好啲嘅溝通。
And that's very important because something I learned as a little kid is that an official or an elected representative has to represent all ideas, even ones that he or she may disagree with.
作為一個選到嘅議員呢，我係好深信呢，就係每一個人嘅聲音呢，我都要係聽到，然之後表達到。
I have many ideas and my form of a mandate.
喺我其實有好多嘅 idea， 有好多嘅諗法。
But I also understand that there are 43 other councillors who also have their own ideology and mandate as well.
但係亦都喺市議會有其他43位同事，佢亦都有佢哋嘅理想，有佢哋嘅諗法。
But my big strength in the years that I've been running my business is my ability to communicate.
我最大嘅能力呢，就係我係一個好好嘅溝通嘅人。
And to understand what the opposing view is thinking and why they think that.
我亦都知道嗰啲反對嘅聲音，佢係諗緊乜嘢，同埋佢哋點解會反對。
So I want to go to council and I want to sit and be part of this culmination of ideas from all points of views and stop the divisiveness at City Council.
所以我係希望呢，就能夠做到一個橋梁嘅工作，可以溝通兩方面，令到呢就大家可以呢就係繼續運作。
You know, in this last provincial election,
喺啱啱完咗嘅省選，
I had met and befriended one of the provincial candidates.
我曾經與一個省嘅選嘅議員。
And he is from one of the parties that doesn't align usually with my ideas and what my priorities are in city governance or in provincial governance.
佢通常一般呢，就同我個諗法，尤其是市議會裏邊嗰啲嘅運作嗰啲諗法係完全唔同嘅。
But I recognized in Thomas that even though his ideology is very different than mine, that he has the ability and awareness to understand that we need to come together and work together regardless of our opinions.
但係呢位朋友呢，呢位嘅候選人呢，佢係令到我係知道，佢亦都知道係雖然我哋唔同意見，但係我哋要走埋一齊解決呢個問題。
And it's amazing when people are willing to listen to one another, even though they disagree, they're very easily and very quickly able to come to a middle ground.
你要想象，如果係有啲人呢，就係肯雖然唔同意見，亦都肯聽大家所講嘅嘢，咁好快我哋就會有一個共識㗎。
And because of the fact that I recognized it in him, and I knew his party was having difficulty finding a campaign office in the last election,
因為我識得佢，我知道佢哋嗰個黨係喺佢哋地區咧，想揾一個campaign 一個競選嘅總部係揾唔到嘅。
I offered him to use my business and for the party to use my business as his campaign office for that month.
咁所以因為咁嘅情況啦，就將我嘅辦公室就俾佢做一個競選嘅總部。
Because I believe it's foremost important to be able to, again, reach across the aisle and help others who may disagree with you, but we understand we're all in this together and we're all trying to improve the city together.
所以因為咧，我想做到一樣嘢咧，就令人哋大家相信，雖然我哋係唔同嘅理念，但係我哋可以係一個好朋友。咁我哋喺嗰個市議會，我哋可以做好多朋友，可以共同達到我哋嘅理想。
And as a result, in the coming city election, even though we have opposing views on many issues, not all, but many issues, we are going to work together and support each other's campaigns because we know we have that ability to do so.
所以因為咁嘅情況呢，就我相信呢，就如果甚至乎我哋市議會有好多唔同嘅挑戰，我哋唔同嘅意見，我哋亦都可以呢，就衷誠咁合作，達到我哋嘅目的。
Now, in contrast to that, the incumbent that I'm up against is a block voter.
但係我哋而家喺我嘅競爭對手，現時嘅市議員呢，佢呢就係一個比較上係群體嘅，向住群體嘅選票嘅。
And as a result, this block voter votes against certain councillors
因為咁嘅情況咧，就所以咧佢咧就會咧就係團體嘅選民咧，就佢會咧就係跟住嗰啲團體咧就係作出一個決定啊。
or motions in city council dependent upon who originally proposed the motion.
或者咧就佢會睇下，即係喺個市議會邊一個原本係即係將呢個議程擺落去嘅。
And that's not the way it's supposed to be. You know, there's a quote that I love, which is, "Even a broken clock is right twice a day."
即係我覺得呢樣嘢係好唔啱嘅，就甚至乎咧有嗰個鐘係即係停咗2次。
And the idea behind that is you never know where a good idea is going to come from. Good ideas come from everywhere, and sometimes the most least expected places. But you have to absorb good ideas, no matter where they come from.
所以即係你唔係睇住即係嗰啲邊一班人咧，就係即係動議呢樣嘢，你係要睇如果係好嘅意見咧，你都要支持。
And I'll give you one example.
我俾一個好好嘅例子你。
There was a motion that came to City Council during the last council called "Count Me In."
曾經有一個叫做即係count me in 計算我在內嘅動議。
And this was an initiative for the City of Toronto to reach out to schools in the city.
呢個係由一個市政府咧。就係去即係嗰啲接觸嗰啲唔同嘅學校。
And this would allow students to do their volunteer hours within the City of Toronto, depending on the department that they want, their area of interest, and whatnot, whether it be Toronto Police, Fire Services, Administration.
呢個係即係要嗰啲學生咧就做一啲義工，咁就係去警察局啊或者政府唔同嘅部門或者咧就係消防局嗰度做義工嘅。
And this initiative was brought forward by Councillor Pasternak.
呢個係其中一個議員叫做Dichter，就係即係動議嘅。
And because the incumbent in my ward doesn't like Councillor Pasternak, the incumbent voted against it. And that was the only vote in all of council against it.
因為我哋而家現時嘅市議員27個市議員係即係唔支持呢個人呢個市議員，所以佢咧就係投反對票咧，亦都係唯一一個投反對票嘅人。
So there's an example of a fabulous idea that was proposed by council, passed unanimously. Everybody wanted it, but because of personal relationships or problems, the incumbent decided not to vote for it.
因為咁嘅理由咧，就即係我哋嗰個現時嘅市議員，因為係佢唔中意嘅人，係因為唔中意嘅人，所以就投反對票。Even 呢個係一個好好嘅選擇。繼續落嚟，繼續訪問阿 Benjamin 最後一個問題。我會問佢點解啲選民要選佢。So Benjamin, why do you think the voters should vote for you?
Well, I think I have a good platform that I've divided into two areas.
我有一個幾好嘅政綱，咁啊，我有2個環節可以講俾大家聽嘅。
And these are the things that are most important to me, and I hope most important to everyone.
呢個係我覺得係好重要，我亦都希望大家都覺得係重要嘅。
The first is to address the city's debt, which is now $4.5 billion.
第一樣嘢我係要即係tackle 呢個市政府嗰度債務，大約咧就係45億嘅。
The second is practical transit growth.
要有一個好實際嘅交通嘅網絡。
Next is infrastructure, which is crumbling and needs to be repaired.
有好多基建嘅嘢需要做嘅。
And congestion.
塞車。
Then there's ideas that I have that are ward specific.
我亦都有啲係即係關於我住嘅嗰個第27選區嘅問題。
And the first change I want to make in the ward is bring true leadership.
我想喺第27區帶一個真正嘅領袖。
A good leader is someone who knows how to listen.
一個好嘅領袖係需要聆聽嘅。
Not just someone who knows how to talk.
唔係一個係曉得講嘢嘅人。
The second thing is 24 to 48-hour response time for all constituents.
我係會有24小時至到48小時咧，就係會即係反映對市民嘅要求。
Then I want to encourage responsible revitalization of the ward.
我就希望呢，就係做到一個有責任嘅對個社區嘅翻新。
and build parts of the ward into a destination.
將呢個嘅呢個第27區係一個即係人哋要去嘅地方。
If you look at areas like Distillery District or Liberty Village, those are two good examples of what I aspire to have in the ward.
即係話你譬如好似酒廠區啦，同埋咧就係Liberty 區啦。
And then transit for the ward.
And then 亦都係有呢個交通喺去到我哋個區。
Bicycle lanes, cars, motorcycles, countdown red lights, zipper merge.
有啲即係踩單車嘅專用線啦，咁同埋唔同嘅交通嘅網絡去到我哋個區。
These are all things that will alleviate our transit woes that we're experiencing today.
呢樣嘢咧就有個好啲嘅交通嘅網絡，就令到我哋嗰區嗰個交通嘅塞車嘅情況咧就減低。
So when people ask me why should they vote for me, I divide it into three simple areas.
點解啲選民要選我咧？其實我有3個諗法。
The first is long-term vision.
第一個咧就係我長遠嘅即係對呢個市政府嘅宏觀。
For decades, we've had members of our city council who think only in the short term and short-term solutions to our problems.
我哋喺市政府見到好多議員，佢哋咧就係好短線嘅。
My concern and my priority is to have solutions that look to 25, 50, 100 years in the future.
我嘅諗法咧就係我哋要解決問題，要俾一個即係 solution， 俾一個方案咧，就係可以咧25年、50年甚至乎100年咁長遠嘅。
The second thing is I'm not a career politician.
我唔係一個係為即係參政而作為一個終身職業嘅。
Nor do I aspire to be a career politician.
我亦都唔係希望做一個係職業嘅參政者。
I'm very happy running my business, living in Toronto, but this is something that I'm passionate about, and I would like to give it a shot for a couple of terms and see if I can initiate the change that I believe we all need.
我其實係一個即係好想做生意嘅人，但我見到種種跡象，即係令到我係好唔開心咁，所以我咧就一定要係出嚟做呢樣嘢，咁希望喺我做幾年之後，即係可以改變到個現狀。
And the third thing, and most important, is the cornerstone of my campaign.
咁第3樣嘢咧就係我呢個即係競選嘅絆腳石。
And that is one simple word, value.
我嘅最簡單咧就係一個價值觀。
There are many people that are upset with our governance, both in the province and in the city.
好多人咧對於即係我哋個市政府同埋我哋個省政府嗰個監察咧係好有問題。
And we hear a lot of rhetoric of people talking about how they're upset with the government, they want smaller government, you name it, there's a number of things.
好多人咧就想一個即係好多投訴，想一個好細啲嘅政府。
And for me, the way I view it, it's not that they're anti-government, it's they feel as though they're not getting value.
佢哋唔係即係反對政府，但係都要發覺咧就即係喺嗰個政府即係佢哋攞唔到應有嘅價值。
Our current city's budget is approximately $10 billion.
我哋嘅政府咧就大約係100億嘅預算案。
Well, I ask people, do you feel as though you're getting your money's worth with our $10 billion budget?
你覺得我哋選民咧，你覺唔覺得我哋係咪物有所值咧？
You know, there's so many anecdotal and data-based examples of this, one being the $150 key cut that the city pays.
有好多即係好嘥錢嘅故事。
So I want to bring practical value to the city of Toronto.
所以我希望咧就將一啲實際嘅價值咧就喺帶去呢個市議會。
Thank you.
多謝各位。
以上內容純屬個人言論，所提及嘅政綱均以嘉賓原話為準，並不代表本台立場，敬請留意。立場敬請留意。立場敬請留意。立場